There was initially in Bali there were protests with Indigenous people being very fearful of a red mechanism that may well lead to them losing their sovereignty over their land or their rights over their land, potentially being recipients of significant human rights abuses from central governments and so forth. That is changing, and I think it's changing because a lot of Indigenous peoples' organisations have started to see that they may well be some of the beneficiaries, some of the significant beneficiaries of these financial flows. There are still Indigenous peoples' organisations that are saying they don't want money, but there are ways that they can still benefit. You know, if they don't want the cash, then they can get schools and roads and hospitals. So you know, there are ways that I believe Indigenous people can benefit across the spectrum from financial flows. Well, as I said, I mean there are the possibility of trust funds being set up. There are the possibility of Indigenous participation in the trust fund, in the funds itself, in the red mechanism itself, to ensure that Indigenous rights are protected and that they are the recipients of a proportion of the funds. And I think it's essential because, as I said, there are areas like Indonesia and some parts of Africa where Indigenous rights basically are non-existent. And they're where the real risks occur of human rights abuses from this. And they, you know, those in some African countries, they don't believe that there are Indigenous people. They're all Indigenous people. The same with Indonesia. It's just a homogenous group of people, and you know, individual ethnicity is not recognised. And those areas are major concerns for certainly a market trading mechanism. But as I said, if we get a fund in that's administered by the parties to the UNFCCC with Indigenous participation, we think those rights abuses are much less likely to occur, and that Indigenous people may well see some significant benefits.